Well, hello there, and good evening. Welcome back to yet another episode of True Crime with the Bad Girl and the Playa. I am Benny Scala, a.k.a. the Playa. With me, as always, is my partner in True Crime, the Boston Bad Girl, the very effervescent Brittany Brown. Brittany, how are you, my friend?
Effervescent as ever.
I like that. I saw that word. That fits,
Perfect. I love it. I've never been called that, and I love it.
Okay. Well, I'll come up with a better one next week.
I love that one. I don't know if you can.
All right. Well, maybe we'll just stick with that one. Sure. Well, Brittany, good news here, and I'm going to do this real quick before we get into business tonight. True Crime has an official sponsor, believe it or not. They also sponsor Dan and Benny in the Ring. They just happen to love our work. So here we go. So let me just show our new sponsor. And actually, that's not it. Shit, where did I get that from? Does anybody remember that guy? Brittany, do you know who that is?
No.
Okay. All right. If you lived in New York, the Tri-City area in the late 70s, you know this guy. I'm curious if anybody in the chat, I'm going to turn the chat here on in a second, but that's not the guy. Hang on. Let me fix that. Here's the guy. All right. So, folks, if you've been injured in a car accident, make sure you speak to our good friend Adam Burbrower at the Burbrower Law Firm. Adam and his crew do things the right way and get great results. Not only is he a great attorney, Brittany, the guy has framed posters of Ernie Ladd and Johnny Rods in his office. I mean, how cool is that, right?
Very.
Yeah. So, if you see Adam climbing the ladder at your local pool to nail a triple Lindy, which is very difficult. Actually, it's impossible. Or maybe the ropes at a local arena. Now, the guy has, believe it or not, he's got superstar Billy Graham tattooed on his back, and he's got Bret the Hitman Hart tattooed on his chest. So not only is he the man, he's the man of the hour, the man with the legal power, too sweet to be sour. He is also the excellence of elocution. Besides being, and he's a really, really good guy. Really good guy. He's also an avid WWF historian. Now, where else can you get a great settlement? While the guy who's getting you that great settlement can also break down Silvano Sousa's greatest matches, if there are any. But check out Adam at burbrowerlaw.com. Follow him on Facebook, and don't forget to tell him that the Playa and the Bad Girl and the Playa sent you. So that's that. And I also need to let everyone know. Let me that we have a winner of the Pieces of Shit poster board contest we did during our last episode. That seems like a lifetime ago, right? Yeah, we got so many cards and letters, even telegrams. I didn't think even telegrams was a thing anymore, from all over the world, that we had to hire the accounting firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe to tabulate the results. So without further ado, here is our winner. I mean, should I really say winner? Is that a winner? So, ladies and gentlemen, next time you go shopping, be on the lookout for the new, but not really improved Pieces of Shit cereal. And as long as I'm speaking of pieces of shit, here we go with another. The subject of our show tonight, Alex Murdaugh, a prominent South Carolina attorney with a very long family legacy, shot and killed his wife Maggie and son Paul on June 7th, 2021 at their 1,700-acre, I think it's called Moselle Estate in Hampton County, South Carolina. Trial began on January 25th, 2023 at the Colleton. Some people in South Carolina, please forgive me if I mispronounce that. The Colleton County Courthouse in Walterboro, South Carolina. I spent 6 months one night in Walterboro a while ago, but don't hold that against me. The trial ended on March 2nd with Murdaugh being convicted on both murders and sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. Now, this one was a very high-profile case. You guys had to bring Karen Reed to my attention. Of course, once I started watching Karen Reed, I was completely hooked. But this one I found on my own. Did you follow this one, Brittany, when it happened?
At the beginning, I wasn't as intrigued and interested as I became once I started hearing more things. Of course, at the beginning, everyone talked about it because of the family ties he had and, corruption and stuff like that. But once things started to come out, boy, did I ever follow it.
Yeah, it was one of those. I mean, so many of these crimes. Once you're in it, you're like with Karen Reed. Forget about the show. Even if we weren't doing the show, I would have been in on that till the very end.
Yeah.
It was that riveting, compelling, whatever you want to say. But
absolutely,
Brittany, you're gonna give us some background information on what a family. Holy crap. Why don't you just take it away?
Yeah, well, thanks, Playa. This might take a bit. So if you need a bathroom break or a snack so soon, now is the time because this is going to take some time. Richard Alexander, Alex Murdaugh, was born on May 27th, 1968. He came from a very prominent and highly influential family. His great-grandfather, grandfather, and father all held the position of circuit solicitor, which would be the equivalent of a district attorney for the South Carolina Low Country Region 14th Judicial District. I'm trying to talk too fast there.
That's all right.
Hopefully everyone was in the bathroom for that. They held this post for a combined 86 years from 1920 to 2006. His family held this post. So Alex graduated from the University of South Carolina in 1990 and from the University of South Carolina's School of Law in 1994. He would then join the family law firm. He married South Carolina socialite Margaret Kennedy Branstetter, nicknamed Maggie, in 1993. They would go on to have two sons, Richard Alexander Jr., nicknamed Buster, and Paul.
All right. Well, so far so good, right? Sounds like the perfect family and the American dream. Not to be confused with the American dream, Dusty Roads, but by all accounts, my Stu Hart's a lot better than my Dusty Roads. But by all accounts, it should have been, right? The guy had a thriving personal injury law career and a very prestigious family-owned law firm. I got to get a cheap plug-in for them. So their original name, I think it's changed now, but it was let's see. Oh, here it is. Peters, Murdaugh, Parker, Elizabeth, and Dietrich, which is PMPED. Oh, they missed the boat there. They should have hired a guy named Isaac, and then it could have been Pimped, PIMPED. But,
I love it.
Yeah, they didn't have me to consult on that. Their loss, right? But, so had money, had a beautiful family, so it seems like everything was, going well for this guy, but definitely not the case. So I'm sorry for the interruption, Brittany.
Oh, no problem, Playa. Here is where the dream becomes a nightmare, though. As always, in our wonderful world of true crime. In February 2019, Alex's younger son, Paul, then 19, was charged with 3 felonies following the death of his teenage friend, Mallory Beach, in a boating accident. Paul's blood alcohol content was 0.286,
wow,
over 3 times the legal limit for operating a motor vehicle. Although at the time of the accident, Paul was underage and the legal limit did not apply. Yet, despite being the driver of the boat, Paul was not given a field sobriety test, nor was he taken to the jail for booking, nor was he ever handcuffed. This led to the speculation that he had received special treatment owing to his family connections. How shocking.
Right?
The judge, yeah, we hear this so frequently. The judge denied a prosecutorial request that he wear an alcohol monitor. In their wrongful death lawsuit against the Murdaughs, Beach's family implicated Alex and Buster in providing alcohol to the then underage Paul. As of September 2021, SLED, which is South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, was investigating allegations that police may have pressured not to charge Paul, or have been pressured not to charge Paul. The family of Connor Cook, one of the teens aboard the boat during the accident, filed a lawsuit claiming Alex had encouraged them to retain attorney Corey Fleming, a close friend of Alex, to orchestrate the protection of Paul. The Beach case began the unraveling of Alex's criminal enterprise by exposing information that led to an inquiry into his alleged financial wrongdoing. In the days before the killing of Maggie and Paul, a judge had scheduled a hearing to consider a motion to compel Alex to turn over his financial records. Likewise, Maggie had arranged for a forensic accountant to review the family finances.
Unreal. Definitely a cluster, you know what, Brittany. So if you could quickly finish the timeline, I know it's kind of lengthy. Hopefully people either, went to the bathroom or got their beloved snack there. So we're almost done, though.
Yeah. This is a good one, though. It's worth it.
It really is. It is a lot of juicy stuff.
Yeah. On September 3rd, 2021, approximately 3 months after the murder of his wife and son, Alex Murdaugh resigned from Peters, Murdaugh, Parker, Elstroth, and Dietrich, PMPED.
Forgot about
after the firm after the firm confronted him over suspected embezzlement. According to the New York Times, the amount involved was in the millions.
10 million.
The following day, Alex was grazed by a gunshot to the head while changing a tire on a rural road. He claimed a truck slowed down, shot him, and drove away. The injury was superficial, and he was released from the hospital soon after. On September 6th, he released a statement saying he was entering a rehabilitation facility in Orlando, Florida, for substance abuse treatment. On September 14th, SLED announced that Alex's former client and distant cousin, Curtis Edward Smith, who has also been Alex's source for an oxycodone addiction, had been arrested for having conspired with Alex to kill him in the roadside shooting. Alex's death would allow his son Buster to receive $10 million insurance payout. Smith was charged with assisted suicide, aggravated assault and battery, and insurance fraud. Alex, suffering from massive depression and wanting to kill himself, admitted to concocting the assisted suicide as a murder scheme. He claimed he was motivated by a mistaken belief that Buster would not receive the insurance money if he committed suicide himself. On November 4th, the Hampton County Grand Jury issued 3 charges against Alex in the assisted suicide scheme. Now, as Benny mentioned earlier, Murdaugh was convicted of both murders on March 2nd, 2023, and was sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences. Murdaugh also pled guilty to embezzlement on November 28th, 2023, and was sentenced to 27 years for various financial crimes.
Wow. Holy crap. Busy guy, right? So let's get into this one. I really think we could be here for a couple of days breaking this one down. Brittany, why do you think he did it? That's one thing that's really puzzled me. I think I have a theory as to why he did this, but what do you think?
I think the world was coming tumbling down, and being a third, fourth generation, whatever he was at the law firm, I think he was going to be humiliated and was going to humiliate the family for the embezzlement of the several $1 million from his own family law firm. And I just think he couldn't take it. And he didn't want to humiliate himself. He didn't want to humiliate his family. And he just wanted to end it all. That's what it seemed like.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree at all. I totally agree with you.
But what I don't get, though, Benny, and you can tell me your thought on this, is, so, all right, I get him thinking, being depressed and wanting to harm himself and all that. But why do that to his wife and one son? That's the part I don't understand. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, this guy is a little bit different than any of the people that we've had, subjects or previous episodes. I mean, you had like a guy like the Boston Strangler, Manson, David Berkowitz, all pure evil, right?
Right.
I really thought about it, and I thought the closest I could get to to this guy was maybe the Menendez brothers. Their murder, I think, was money induced, although they say it was something different. But I really, you nailed it on the first one. I think, his law firm was right about to, start pressuring him hard on the embezzlement. And, but I think the other thing was too, is that he was indicted or implicated in the Mallory Beach, that 19-year-old girl. What a tragedy that was. And one of the things that sticks with me is they had, I've watched so many videos on this thing, but when the police, I guess the first thing was the phone call, I guess, and I forgot, I don't know who made the phone call, but then I saw the cops interviewing some kids, the kids who were in the boat, and one of them said the driver, who was the driver, and he said the driver was Paul Murdaugh, son of Alex Murdaugh, and then he said, "Good luck," meaning like you said, this guy, these people were protected, they were above the law, and then
absolutely,
the Mallory's boyfriend, I can't think of his name, he was being interviewed, and at that point, Paul Murdaugh was approaching him, and he was smiling and joking around, and the kid just absolutely loses it and has to be restrained by one of the officers on the scene, because he says, my girlfriend is gone. He called him every name in the book, but this kind of shows you what I mean. It wasn't just Alex. I think this is a very entitled family, but I do think, getting back to the question, is that Alex murdered them because it would kind of throw the heat off of him, because the law firm, assuming he did it right and it just looked like a murder and he wasn't a suspect, his law firm, they're not going to go after him. They're, it's like, oh, poor Alex, oh my God, what a tragedy, he lost most of his family, and by the same token, I think Paul was scheduled to go on trial for the death of Mallory Beach. Well, now that's gone too. So I think at that point, they became an inconvenience to him.
Right. And now I do suppose there was a hefty life insurance on his wife. So if the board at his law firm required him to pay back what he embezzled, my guess is maybe that was behind.
You know what? I never thought of that. That's a great point, because if he had somehow, quote unquote, gotten away with it and collecting, I'm sure there'd be hefty life insurance policies on both, the kid and the wife. Well, now problem solved, right? I covered my nuts, so to speak, and I'm at least, I'm at least okay on that one. And as far as the parents of the girl, I think that case actually just settled. The Mallory Beach, I think he's got to pay them $500,000. Of course, like, where's he going to get that right now? The guy has nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's a very good point. It's really funny.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing I could come up with is, so he wanted the son's issues gone. And by making that son gone, then the issues are gone. And of course, like you said, back at the law firm, everybody's going to be like, oh, poor Alex, poor Alex. Oh, this is awful. But, the partners are going to want their money back, especially if we're talking millions of dollars, right?
Right.
So in order for him to stay there and make this right, he's going to have to pay these people back their money. Where's he going to get it? A couple of life insurance policies.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, he really had no way to cover that at all. I mean, where all that money went that he embezzled, God only knows. But I mean, he didn't have it.
Oxycodone, it sounds to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really funny that when you look at that family, very distinguished. I mean, you're going back to the 1800s. That like you mentioned about the solicitor, which is the equivalent of the DA, and I heard the comment that Alex inherited the last name, and he inherited the red hair, but he inherited none of the talent of his father, and grandfather, etc. That this guy, I mean, he somehow got into law school and he graduated. I mean, still, I guess was a decent lawyer, but he was not his father or grandfather or great grandfather.
Right. He was definitely the black sheep of that family.
Right. But I mean, there's a fine line between being entitled and being a murderer. I mean, he definitely crossed that threshold.
Yeah. And like you said, comparing a little bit to the Menendez, I think it's a very similar type of thing. Now, granted, I don't believe there was any type of sexual abuse or allegations or anything of that sort, but just the two words entitlement and murderer and actually fine line also, I think, all come to play in both of these cases.
Right.
Because the Menendez, they were super entitled. They thought because of who they were, who their dad was, and, their ties to Menudo back in the day, because that was a big deal back then.
Yeah, I learned a lot doing that episode. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, and it's still, it was on either Dateline or 2020 this past weekend. They had another show on the Menendez brothers this past weekend. And I watched that. They had a Karen Reed one, and
really?
they
Okay.
had the Menendez. Yeah, they did another one, and they interviewed an ex-girlfriend of the dead Canton police officer, and she has now befriended Karen Reed, and they go to court together all the time. This girl that used to go out with the person that she's accused of killing, this girl and her are now really, really good friends. This girl reached out to her and said, I think you're being set up. I'm sorry. I dated him too, only for 6 months, but I think you're being set up and I don't think you did it. And now they formed this great friendship, and she was interviewed, and I think part 4 is coming down the road, Benny.
As Bill Clinton would say, you just read my mind. No, I do. I thought that exact same thing, that we are not done with Miss Karen Reed. And I mean, I'll be very happy. I mean, not for her, but I mean the fact that I get to watch this again, because it was probably, I would say, for me, one of the 5 most compelling crimes that I've ever followed.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to use a word like this, but it really was riveting. It really was.
100%. You started. I mean, when you guys told me about it, I'll check it out. Then the minute I did, holy crap! Yeah, this is a good one. Yeah, we're gonna do this one. I'm really glad we did too.
Yeah, me too. And it's still a big thing here. I think it will become a bigger thing. It will become well, it is still nationwide, but I think it will become more out there, especially after this weekend, being on again. But I'll tell you, it's been on 48 Hours, Dateline, 2020. It's just really out there, like this case has, and Menendez and, Murdaugh, especially if I believe you're the one that told me that Murdaugh is looking for a new trial.
Yes. Yeah. I believe the clerk of the court, and I have her name here somewhere, apparently, according to him, influenced the jury. And she actually wound up resigning from her position with that county, Colleton County. And I think she's gone on to write a book about it. But it was initially denied by a lower court. I think he's right now, the South Carolina Supreme Court is actually considering giving him a new trial because due to jury tampering. But I'm sorry. It's going to go the same way. What? It's going to be the same verdict. It's just It's like a football practice. You're going to run the same play. You're going to get the same result. But if you want to do it, so be it.
Yeah, and the thing is what nabbed him, and I believe really the only thing that nabbed him was that phone recording.
Oh, when they had on the son's. Oh God, yeah. When they went to the son was at the kennel, and they show a close up of that cute little pup, and you hear his voice in the background. Come on, Bubba. And I mean, they had about 11 people on the stand saying, "Who that's Alex Murdaugh. How sure are you? 100%." I mean, that was the nail in the coffin. And then he had to do a 180 and change his story because he was definitely busted.
Totally. And I'm not so sure. I'm really not so sure that he would have been convicted beyond a reasonable doubt if it wasn't for that recording.
No, I totally agree. If it was not for that, it probably would have been a hung jury because they.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, because really, other than that, there was really no actual no forensic evidence.
Nope.
I mean, a shit ton of circumstantial evidence, but definitely. I mean, people have gotten off for less. So yeah, I agree. And the thing though that really, when I got into this case, and I heard about this, I was like, holy crap, the guy murdered his wife and son. How bad is that? But this is not the first casualty that these people have been involved with. So I mean, we talked about Mallory Beach, the friend of the kid that died in 2019. In 2015, I have this. I took some notes on this. Stephen Smith, he was a 19-year-old nursing student at Orangeburg Calhoun Technical College, was found dead from blunt force trauma on a rural road in Hampton County, approximately 15 miles from the Murdaugh family's Moselle estate. The case was initially ruled a hit and run with no suspects arrested. Now, Smith was openly gay, and he was actually a high school friend of Buster Murdaugh, the only one who's not dead or in jail. So witnesses interviewed, they repeatedly implicated Buster as having been involved in some kind of relationship with Smith, but the case went cold. And according to the Greenville News, rumors hinting at a cover-up and the possible involvement of one or more members of the Murdaugh family began circulating around the Hampton County area soon after Smith's death. And according to the Beaufort County Island Packet, which I guess is their newspaper, this case reeked of insider interference. But on June 2021, SLED reopened the investigation based on evidence found while they investigated the deaths of Maggie and Paul. And they announced that Smith's death was not a murder. Was a murder. I'm sorry, and not a hit and run accident. But no indictments or charges have been issued as of October 2024. And Buster released a statement to the press denying his involvement, in which he said these baseless rumors. The minute somebody says baseless rumors, they did it. These baseless rumors, my involvement with Stephen and his death are false. But I mean, given everything we know about the family, if they eventually implicate him, I'm not going to be shocked.
Yeah, it sounds to me like Daddy found out about a gay relationship and ended it for him.
Yeah, because God, at that point, 2015? There was no rumors of embezzlement. There were no shady,
right.
No shady goings on. He just had a family with a shit ton of money and living the good life. So, at that point, it would have been a huge blotch on the family name.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, there was definitely motive to make it go away.
Yeah, I think Daddy hushed that one up.
Yeah, that would be, and of course, like we're just speculating, but sure. that would be my guess. But
okay, then
go ahead.
What about Gloria Satterfield?
What do you know about her?
I don't know anything about. I've never heard of her.
Yeah, she was their She was their housekeeper. So on February 2018, the Murdaugh's longtime housekeeper, Gloria Satterfield suffered a severe head injury when she allegedly was tripped by one of the Murdaugh's dogs and fell down the steps of the family home on the Moselle estate. She died in the hospital on February 26th of complications related to the fall, including a stroke. The incident had been reported as a trip and fall accident, but no coroner was notified, no autopsy was performed, and the death certificate incongruously attributed the death to natural causes. Well, naturally, you're going to die when somebody kills you, right? A coroner testified that describing her death on the death certificate as natural was improper. But here's where it gets even shadier. So, excuse me. Satterfield's two sons were awarded a $4.3 million insurance policy payout from the Murdaugh's insurer for her accident and or natural death. But by 2021, they had not received any money. According to multiple indictments, Alex Murdaugh, banker Chad Westendorf, and attorney Corey Fleming conspired to steal the payout by diverting the money to Alex's bank account, of course.
What?
Yeah, then not notifying the Satterfields that the payout had occurred. The Satterfields, represented by malpractice attorney Eric Bland, were ultimately able to recover more than $6.5 million during subsequent lawsuits. And on September 15th, 2021, authorities announced that they opened a criminal investigation into her death. In June 2022, authorities received permission to exhume her body to continue investigating her death. Now, I don't really know much more as far as like how that's progressed, but I mean,
wow,
this was a 57-year-old woman.
Ooh.
How many people do you know that their death was caused by tripping over a dog? Not too many.
I mean, I was shocked that 8 years ago, just 2 months after adopting Archie, I stepped on my pit bull's bone and I heard a crack, and I was absolutely shocked that I broke my foot.
Oh, man.
Shocked. Just from stepping on a bone.
Right. Wow.
So, like, that shocked me. So imagine tripping over a dog and dying. I don't know.
Again, Murdaugh was the one who said, why don't you sue me for wrongful death? And recommended, I guess, this Corey Fleming guy, who was a good friend of Murdaugh's. So this, you sue my insurance company, and then they'll pay out, which they did. Unfortunately, they never got. Well, they ultimately got the money, but I don't know. I mean, given everything else, I don't think this woman just tripped and fell.
No way. No way. I mean, it sounds like a well planned out financial scam and scheme.
Right.
And it seems like he had it going with this other law firm.
Yes. But I mean, how low is that? I mean, this woman was in their employ. We're not talking about, she wasn't from like Ready Maids or Merry Maids or whatever the heck,
right.
Like when you want your house clean and, do it for, $175 for 2 hours. This lady was employed by the Murdaughs for over 20 years.
Oh.
She literally, the comments that I heard was she helped raise Buster and Paul. I mean, she was like literally a member of the family. You have somebody like spending 20 years at your house.
Yeah, right.
Your family at that point. I'm sure they exchanged Christmas gifts, and I would think she was invited over for family functions and things like that, and same with the kids, and it's just incomprehensible how maybe this was his first attempt at covering his nut. Maybe by then he had gotten into some trouble. And
I mean,
How am I going to fix this?
I mean,
okay.
well, I think Stephen Smith was first, the first one that we supposedly know of, but financial wise, I don't think anything was involved.
No, there
I
was
think
no.
that was just
I think, like you
family
said,
name.
and I really didn't even think of it the way you mentioned it, though. I do believe that was Murdaugh's attempt at, hushing because at that point, if that had gotten out, I mean, not that there's anything wrong with it, but in his mind, I guess maybe like, oh, this is the Murdaugh family. We can't have anything like that. And, he made it go away like that. And then, yeah, this one was totally 100% financial.
Yes. Oh, totally. Totally. And it just seems like it was very well planned out. It really does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because how do you get the money funneled? Well, I don't know. I'm not an attorney, so I don't know. And I don't really have any friends that are attorneys. But I mean, does the attorney get the money and then the attorney issues it to the family when someone dies?
Yeah. Yeah. I believe, well, my understanding is that everything an attorney does, the funds they have trust accounts. And,
Yeah, so that makes sense to me. But where his insurance company was the one that was being sued, I'm a little surprised that his law firm got the check.
well, I think the Fleming guy, now I don't know if Fleming worked in that law firm or not, but
Yeah.
the money probably was sent to Corey Fleming, and I'm sure Murdaugh
Yeah.
gave him a nice little healthy cut for
Oh, I
conspiring
bet.
in it. But then the rest, I'm sure Murdaugh pocketed a couple of $1 million. It just
Wow.
it's mind-boggling how I mean, I had this discussion the other day about Bree, and somebody said, "Would you sell Bree for $1 billion?" And I said, I didn't even think about it. I said, absolutely not. Like you could offer me all the money in the world for Bree. Now she's not for sale.
Right.
She's got my heart, and she's got me wrapped around her little finger. The fact that people could make other people expendable for financial gain, I know it happens all the time. I just can't wrap my arms around it.
Yeah, I can't either. I mean, it's just, somebody could ask me the same question about my dog, and it's just not happening. So,
Right, $1
like a
billion bucks. No,
human,
sorry, thank you, but no.
yeah, no, wouldn't even consider it.
Right.
Next. But these people are just like their own family, their own blood. The woman you were married to for decades and had 2 children with, you just blow her away. And, you slept in the same bed with her last night. And your son, just because he got in a boating accident, granted, it was a horrific accident and there was, death and all that, but still, I mean, geez, somebody was in an accident. Luckily, no one died, but somebody in my family was in an accident once, and nobody died. Nobody was seriously injured, but still, you know, do I want to kill him because he was in a car accident? No,
Right.
no. And then your own blood, just because. Oh my God, I like you said, can't wrap my arms around it. I can't.
Do you think
How do
that?
you do business?
Go ahead.
How do you like? It's bad enough what you've done personally, but then you take it to the office, which is generations and generations of people that, their blood, sweat, and tears built that business. And you bring all this ridiculous nonsense and shame and scams and death and killings and thievery and everything to your business. It's bad enough that you're doing it, but you bring it to your business too with all your partners and relatives. And this guy had to be mentally ill. He had to be.
Right. Do you think he helped himself by testifying, taking a stand?
No,
I don't either. Why
no.
do you say that? I'm curious.
Well, I think he's a bad actor, in my opinion. Like really a poor actor. He tried to to pull, as far as I'm concerned, he tried to pull the sympathy card, and he tried to make himself out to look like, poor me, and
Well, I think that was the whole intent. And for a while there, I think he got away with it, but not for too long.
Not for too long is the key. Yeah. Because I think people were like, wait a minute. I mean, I could see right through him. He was full of crap to me.
Right.
But, you know, I've also never been on a jury, and I don't ever want to be on one.
No, same here. No, thank you. Nope.
No.
But, it just, the prosecutor, I thought, was kind of like not really flashy, not like the other guy in the, I'm sorry, no, in the Reed trial, it was the defense attorney that was the rock star, right? Reed's attorney was like really brilliant.
Oh, Alan Jackson?
Yes, unbelievable. But this guy, I can't think of his name now, the prosecutor, was just, he was just very, very thorough and very good. And, my impression, he did a very good job painting Alex Murdaugh as a pathological liar, and,
yes,
I lied about this. I lied about this. I lied about this. So, my thing is, if I'm a juror, it's like, okay, so you lied about 127 different things. What makes me believe you're telling the truth right now?
Exactly.
Right. I mean, and I think he did himself in. It probably was his own decision to testify, but I don't think that's
sure.
a good idea. But
yeah, if I was his attorney, I would have told him not to. Well, they may have told him not to. And once again, Mr. Entitled, he knew better.
Yeah, I'm smarter than these people. I'll convince them.
Right, and I'm sure he did feel that way because he's always felt that he's better and smarter, and the whole entitled, spoiled rich kid act.
Right. Yeah.
Well into adulthood.
I would not be totally shocked if he did get a new trial. I think there is some substance to this jury tampering as far as this. I mean, do I think it really altered the outcome of the case? Absolutely not. But apparently this lady did try to, paint Murdaugh as guilty before they even deliberated. So they might have enough evidence. I don't want to see another trial, though. Do you?
No, not really, because like you said, I don't think anything's going to change.
Right.
I mean, it is what it is. The recording is there. If the recording suddenly disappears, which, by the way, I wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
But, we've all heard it.
We've heard it, and they I'm sure it's preserved somewhere, and they would have to admit it. They admitted all the financial improprieties the first time. I'm sure they would have to do that again. I wonder if at this point, if they would maybe, if they were allowed to introduce Gloria Satterfield's murder. And
wouldn't that be interesting?
I don't know if they could do that, but I think that would be the nail in the coffin. But I mean, even without that, I think there's plenty. I do.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, I don't think there'll be a different verdict whatsoever. Why waste the county, the state's money? I mean, it's silly. It's silly.
Right.
It's not going to change.
He doesn't care about that. I mean, that's probably again, entitled. I just wonder, like, how. I mean, you always try to put yourself in the mind of these people, and you really can't, because we're too normal, relatively speaking. But I'm thinking, like, at what point when this guy's starting to embezzle money, even like, takes 100,000. Oh, I can pay that back, but then he gets whatever he was doing. He said opioids, but I mean, could it have caused that much of a a financial duress to him? Then another $500,000 before you're in the hole $1 million, and it just went on and on, and almost sounds like, I mean, if it was revealed that the guy was a compulsive gambler, I that one I could understand, because it's like that would explain why he kept doing this as far as the embezzlement.
Right, definitely. I mean, yeah, I mean the scams, the schemes, working it out with another law firm on the Gloria Satterfield, and then, trying to collect. I'm sure he would have tried to collect on his wife and sons. I mean, it's just like a pattern, and it just makes you wonder, like, why? How did it happen? How did it get so far? How did
Right.
he get in so deep? Could it have just been pills?
Uh, I mean, how many people have opioid addictions that don't murder anyone? And
Yeah,
I mean, the guy had money. I mean, he was making, I'm sure, making really, really good money at the,
I'm sure.
at the law firm. I'm sure he's doing very, very well. And I'm sure that he came into money. I mean, he came from a very wealthy
Definitely,
family. So I'm sure he inherited
definitely.
plenty of money. I mean, at what point at one point is enough enough? Apparently for him, it was never enough.
Yeah, I guess not. I mean, maybe between depression and the the pills, and it was just like a nonstop circle, it seems like, between the
Right.
pills and depression and the money and the embezzling and the, you know, it's just such a sad thing, and to have such innocent people be involved, like his wife. I mean, I'm sure she had no idea about any of this other stuff that
No,
was
well,
happening.
now I did read that at some point she was actually going to call for an investigation into his finances. I don't know how true that is. If you talk to his lawyer, that wasn't true. They had an idyllic marriage, but I've heard that all was not well behind the scenes. I mean, this lady was no
Yeah,
dummy. She had to know something was going on.
definitely.
You know,
That's
I
so
think I
sad.
I think she's was that song "Stand by Your Man." I think
Yeah,
she took the high road and stood behind the guy, and she paid for it with her life. Sadly,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. That's really sad. And I'm sure that, her and Gloria Satterfield were probably very close.
Yeah, I mean, even that maybe that like because she definitely wasn't a part of it, but
No.
I would think again like people don't normally die that way. That's kind of
Right.
you,
So, like, does she just accept that that's what happened? And then
right.
she finds out, I'm sure she found out from the family that they still didn't get their money and still didn't get their money. And, she had to have been asking questions.
Now, Alex, why haven't these people gotten their money yet? These poor kids, they lost their mom. Why haven't they gotten paid yet? And like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It sounds
Just
like she
sad,
might have been on to him.
right? I believe that she was. I do. Maybe that another reason why she's no longer with us.
Exactly.
Do you think
Exactly.
does this guy see the light of day? I say no.
No way. No way.
And what a shame. Like the legacy of that family. Like these. I'm sure his predecessors, and I don't know as far as their morality. Maybe they were entitled jackasses like him, but they didn't cross that line though. They,
No.
from all accounts, they had an impeccable reputation. Just, they were very powerful and very influential. But I never heard that, there were any shady goings on until this guy came on the
And
scene.
yeah. And then, boy, did he bring it all with
Yep,
him.
yep. He brought it to a crashing halt. So I don't know about you, bad girl, but this one wore me out. I mean, I thought Scott Peterson was the king of pieces of shit, but this guy, in my opinion, he definitely gave him a run for his money. No.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. He deserves a square on the cereal box.
He does. He does. Yep. I totally agree. So, and I do apologize. We're going to try to be with you guys on a more frequent basis. We had a couple of snafus in the last couple of weeks. A couple of hurricanes here, but we plan on being a little bit more regular. Which for a guy my age, that's a very good thing, being regular. And so once again, thanks to everyone in the chat room as well as the millions and
And
millions of
millions.
true crime fans around the world. We have plenty more planned for you, trust me. So make sure you subscribe to the Monty and the Pharaoh YouTube channel so you won't miss any notifications. Now, tomorrow night, please do not forget to join us at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Dan and Benny in the Ring. We are celebrating our 200th, pretty landmark when you think about podcasts and how I heard the average podcast last 3 to 4 episodes. We're number 200. And yeah, right. And our guest is the very legendary and the very unfiltered Ken Patera, who was actually our guest for our 100th episode. And I already, it's one of those things. The guy's been on a million podcasts, and you think, oh, what could I ask him that nobody's asked him? But I'm a pretty original guy, so I think I got a couple of tricks up my sleeve. So,
I have a feeling.
So for the Boston Bad Girl, this is the Playa telling everyone to stay safe. See you next crime. Night, guys.